Hey everybody, welcome back to Leosophy. My microphone is messed up, so I'm going to be doing this all via the phone. Um, so this one is going to be about livestock options. Now we've already covered chickens, and that's really the bare minimum that people have when it comes to livestock for like a homestead situation. But there are other things to consider. A lot of people are interested in cows and goats and sheep and donkeys and horses and etc. But really, if you're looking at a small situation, if you're looking at 10 and under acres, I really don't think that cows or horses, unless you just have like one horse and that's it or something, are really practical. And additionally, horses, and this is not an indictment. I mean, again, I live in Kentucky. People love horses here, but it's an animal. I hear the people joke all the time that they eat money and crap debt, and that's very valid point. Unless you have a particular use for them, they're not a very utilitarian animal in this day and age. And I hear a lot of people who are preparing for really really harsh times ahead saying that it would be advantageous to have one, but I think that unless you have the land and the resources, it's really not something that I would just immediately jump on. In terms of bigger livestock, when it comes to cows, people want dairy, people want milk, and learning how to make cheese and knowing how to milk a cow, those are things that I think are absolutely great skills. Incidentally, I suck at it. But when it comes to picking an animal for a family, like a family, not a village, not a tribe, a family, um, a cow's not the best idea. Now, you could get away with one very sweet and small breed called a Dexter cow. I can imagine that being useful. If you have wild rose bushes everywhere and you're raising them for like both meat and milk, and you have the land, Highlander cows, they eat everything. And then most breeds are good if you have the resources for them. But if you're talking about a small family homestead, I really think cows are not the way to go. Um, Goats, hands down. Alpine, Nubian, those are the two that I would at least recommend. Those are both really good breeds for families, and you only need a few, and they can live on a much smaller amount of land. And more importantly, this is the big reason why I suggest goats, the biggest reason rather. Not only do they eat less and need less space, but once a female goat gets pregnant and has a baby, you can literally milk them indefinitely. As long as they are being milked, they will continue. I mean, I've heard of cases of them drying up and then you have to start over. But with a cow, it's a much shorter thing. A cow gives milk for, I mean, I can't even remember because I used to have a dairy cow, a Jersey, but it was not a question of years. It was a question of months. So it's just really impractical unless you're running like a dairy farm. So I highly recommend either an Alpine or a Nubian or a Boer goat. That's probably the best non-chicken livestock you could invest in would be a dairy goat. Um, yeah, you know, donkeys are useful for keeping predators away. But if you have a small amount of land, if you're looking at a homestead, again, I have lots of cows and I use a donkey to keep coyotes away from calves. But if I just had chickens, invest in a dog that will protect them. And there's a bunch. I mean, it's really even more up to preference. Pyrenees are great. Um, Mutts in general, if you luck out and find a good one, because they tend to be smarter and healthier, more robust, thanks to dysgenic breeding practices that. For all the purebreds out there, it's not that they're purebred; it's the dysgenic practices that have taken effect over the past century. Getting off topic. So yeah, that's all I've got to say for this particular episode. Just because again the camera's an issue and the microphone's an issue, but I think I've said what I need to, which is if you're looking at supplementing a homestead with more livestock, start with smaller animals. And if you're limited in terms of budget, resources, and land, goats are substantially more versatile than cows, horses, even pigs. Pigs can be bred for meat, and it is useful. But if you have a small amount of land, you're gonna have to get used to the fact that pigs are they tear up everything and they smell really bad. And I mean, it's not an indictment of pigs. A lot of people that I know in the area, again, I live in a very hillbilly-esque kind of area, which I mean that in a good way. they will keep one or two pigs for meat, but it's not like a large scale operation. So for a homestead, if you want to raise a few piglets, and you don't want to get attached to them, and you want to slaughter them for meat, by all means, but just be aware that when it comes to like a long-term livestock resource, chickens and then goats, those are the most logical. Sheep can be useful as far as being bred for meat and wool, but it's really more niche, and I think the goats are a more suitable substitute for most of the livestock that I previously mentioned. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, keep asking questions. Bye.